Hey guys, it's Michaela, and I'm gonna be Mr. Captain Obvious here and say it's not Wednesday. But it is the stack of pancakes still, and you should still subscribe right there if you haven't. I had a 14-hour work day on Wednesday, and I was sick as well, so filming just wasn't really gonna happen that day. So here I am on Saturday. I like it because I got to watch everyone's videos, which doesn't ever happen before I film. And doing that, it made me realize that I'm kind of lame because I don't really have any, I guess, personal things to share with you guys. I don't really have a relationship with my father, and I don't really care to have one. And my mother and I, we get along, I suppose, but we clash quite often, and we're very different people. But I wouldn't change that, and I wouldn't try to get our relationship from when I was younger back because I don't know that it was much better. I spent most of my time with my grandma, so there's that. I did make a list of things, so I'm going to just jump into those because I feel like I have a lot to cover today. Ian mentioned Darkwing Duck, and that was not originally on my list, but I was like, how is that not number one on my list? As soon as he said it, I was like, oh my god! So yeah, probably that. But when he said that, it made me think of my favorite juice from a while back. I called it duck juice. I don't really know what it was called, but it was in a carton, and it had a picture of Donald Duck on it. Does anyone else remember that juice? I know a couple years ago, I don't know that it's non-existent, but I do know that I can't find it anywhere, because a couple years ago, my friend TJ and I tried to find it everywhere, and we couldn't. So, yeah. The next thing on my list is kind of weird. Fluoride treatments at the dentist. I miss those. I think you stopped getting them when you're like 16, but it was you could choose your flavor, and then you got to sit there with the thing in your mouth, and you hold the sucky thing in your mouth, and you touch it to your tongue, and it sucks up all the stuff, and you felt like a big person because you could operate the sucky thing by yourself. That, and I really like the taste of teeth treatments and that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, my grandma had this furnace in her house. And it was this huge furnace grate. It was oil, and the warm air would blow up through that furnace grate, and I used to stand over it in my nightgown and let the heat come up through the nightgown because I'm a generally cold person, so I like the extra heat. So I miss that furnace grate. I had like Marilyn Monroe moments and that kind of thing. I was just like pushing down my gown. No, not really, but I do miss the furnace. And sitting next to it with the heat blowing up. It was a good thing for me. We had this dog named Chavez. It was a chow, and I miss him. He was a good dog. I don't think that you could reincarnate him into anything other than a chow, though. His demeanor was very chow-like. He was so handsome. Of course, I think all dogs are handsome. So, next on my list, and I'm not really sure if you can technically miss something that you don't want, but I miss the square pizza. Actually, I guess this is a rectangle pizza. School pizza from the lunchroom. It's a rectangle. I think it was like Tony's brand pizza or something. I wouldn't eat it now because I don't eat that stuff. But I do miss, like, I guess my childhood. That's a big memory that I always really missed until I decided to stop eating that kind of stuff. So that, I guess, obviously Christmas and spring break, because you don't really get that when you get older. You just don't. You have like grown-up things to do, I guess. I don't really miss the carefree lifestyle and not paying bills because I do like being able to do whatever I want to do and able to eat dessert before supper if I want. So I wouldn't give that freedom up. Bus rides, I miss bus rides because all of my friends and I used to ride the bus together, and when you're cool and you're older, you get to sit in the back of the bus, and we had like a bus queen and a bus king, and the queen could like overrule the king. I went through a lot of kings because no one really liked doing what I said that they needed to do, so nothing's really changed there, I guess. And then lastly, but certainly not least, I think everyone says that every time they say something last on a list, but this is true. My grandma's advice, like face-to-face, in-person advice. I still get grandma's advice, but it's usually over the phone, and she's like 6 hours away. She always had great advice, and always good, like, analogies, I guess you could say, like, Don't judge a book by its cover. I feel like that's like something that's very cliche. Most of her sayings are very cliche, although some weren't. Like, I remember coming home one day. This is kind of, no, I'm not going to share that. That's slightly not appropriate, so I'm not going to. If you want to know, message me on Facebook. I'll tell you what she said. But, no. Also, you could tweet me or something if you know my Twitter. That's all I have about memories and things that I would bring back from my childhood. Kayla had mentioned we should all get together and have a dinner or something of the sort. And that's a cool idea. Because I know Kayla, obviously, because we are relatives. That's what I was going to say. We are relatives. Oh, that's something I miss. Kayla, you didn't say this, but I miss, we used to see each other, I guess, like every other Saturday, and I miss that. That was fun. Jumping on trampolines and whatnot. That was good. Although I think that her brother and I are closer in age, so I don't know. Maybe she doesn't miss that at all, but it was fun. I think we had a good time. Anyway, I know Kayla, obviously, and I know Patrick pretty well, I'd say. I've never met Adam. And it's so weird to think about that, because I feel like I've known Adam for a very long time, but I've never actually met him, ever. And I, of course, have never met Ian. So, as Ian said, because he had never met me, so that would mean that I've never met him either. I think it would be cool. You guys all live in the same state, though, so I'm the farthest away. So keep that in mind when you tell me when and where, because I am the farthest away. Ian has mentioned on his Facebook recently that he was contemplating maybe a road trip up to Richmond, and if that's the case, maybe you guys could all pile into one vehicle and come visit me. That could be a good, fun thing. I feel like that's very selfish of me to say, but I've been to all of the places that you guys live, and you guys haven't been here, so it'd be fun. Oh, and one last thing before I go. Ian. So, let me tell you, this is all your fault, because you mentioned it, not this past week, but the week before that. And so I went out about the first one, and I was like, okay, so I'm going to read this and see what I think, because I thought that it sounded like a really awesome premise, and I wanted to read it. And as you can see, I have the other three. I'm completely sucked in. This is totally all your fault. But thank you, because the illustrations are just phenomenally geeky and absolutely amazing and so literal, and I just absolutely love them. Also, I hate you for ruining my productivity, but it's fantastic. Also, let me know, do you have the actual comic books, or do you have what I have, which are the compilations? Did they, please let me know, because I'd be interested to see. I don't know if the cover art is the same, like if the cover art for the chapters, which I don't think that, is this chapter 3? Is this the cover art for the third comic? Is this true? I don't know. Let me know about that, because if not, I might have to go buy all the comics just so I can see the cover art. That's pretty much it. That's all I have for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, let me know when we're gonna all meet up and have a dinner. That'd be fun. Mwah. See you next week. Bye.